Your hard digital age means you're bombarded with information.
The federal government is asking Lagosians to believe.
Speaker of the House, Femi Gbajabiamila, it's getting harder and harder to find the truth in the disinformation, or to put today's headlines into context.
One of our soldiers shot me, Sandra, on my ribs.
That's why I'm here. I ask the tough questions that get to the root of things.
The previous election had allegations of rigging.
Well, Sandra, let's leave the realm of conjecture, if you know what I mean. Nobody has been able to prove that 2018 elections were rigged.
I tell you the history behind the news. I need to take you back. I need to give you a bit of history. Now, Zimbabwe got its independence. I cut through the spin and show you the facts.
Yeah, but Kayode, Kayode, hold on. Kayode, no, Kayode, I will let you talk. Kayode, I will let you talk if you let me talk. Kayode.
There's a reason why more and more Lagosians are tuning in. 500,000 Lagosians, 570,000 of
630,000 people.
Hold on. It's actually now 674,000 people listening to Hard Facts. They know what they're looking for. I'm Sandra Ezekwesili, and these are your Hard Facts.
Hello, Lagos. Good afternoon. I am Sandra Ezekwesili, and these are your hard facts. The Lagos State Judicial Panel of Inquiry into SARS and the Lekki Tollgate shooting sat again today. Remember, it's a public hearing, so as a Lagosian, you have a right to be there. You have a right to attend this public hearing. You have a right to go down there and hear what is being said. Next week, Tuesday, I'm going to dedicate one episode of the Big Hard Fact to the panel. So we'll take a look at what has been discussed so far. I'll have guests who have attended the hearings, as well as lawyers to look at everything going on. I've been watching the news and seeing a lot of interesting things happening at the panel. So, for instance, you have a gentleman whose name is Bolaong, and he says he's going there to also petition the panel to look into fake news, and he's hoping that Files the Bad Guy and DG Switch will be invited to speak on the matter. You also have the panel making a surprise visit to the military hospital in Ikoyi and being refused entry into the hospital at first, and then they were allowed into the hospital, but they were refused entry into the mortuary. Of course, the panel probably wanting to go find out if some of the reports about some corpses being at the military is true. Some of the corpses carrying bullet wounds being at the military morgue is true. But according to what we saw on the news, the panel wasn't allowed entry into the morgue. Now, we'll keep our eye on that story, and as soon as we know more, you're going to know more. Remember, yesterday I brought you the story of dozens of people who were allegedly held by the army for violating curfew. You remember? And they were not given food or access to their phones or contact to their loved ones until reporters showed up. Do you remember? Remember, I played you the clip of one of the women appealing for help as well. Well, the Nigerian Bar Association has responded. Yesterday, the NBA president, Olumide Akpata, tweeted that the association is looking into the case, and we're hearing that the NBA in Ekpe wants to assist some of those citizens who are in police custody. Now, apart from freedom, citizens also have a right to information, right? That's where Hard Facts comes in. Today, instead of the big three, I'm going to be giving you a big one. We'll talk about the things that the Lagos State House of Assembly members had to say. After that, as usual for Friday, we'll bring you Public Square with Agogo and Rotimi Sankore. We'll wrap up the show with music and moments with Ifanyi and Sam. And of course, there's news updates at the top of the hour every hour. So you need to be on the lookout for that particular conversation. It's coming your way pretty soon. We're streaming this conversation on Facebook, by the way. We are on Facebook. We are on YouTube. Nigeria Info 99.3 on Facebook. Nigeria Info 99.3 on Twitter. Nigeria Info as well on and YouTube. So you can watch and you can pay attention. I'm saying watch because there's so much that we want to show you. There's so much that I'll be streaming for you as we have conversations today. So today's a good day to get online and watch as we bring you today's Big Three.
This is the Big Three.
The Big Three on Hard Facts
On 99.3 Nigeria Info.
What do you think about Desmond Elliot's apology and retraction? What do you think about Mojisola Alli-Macauley saying that most young people are on drugs? And what do you think of Ibrahim Layode saying, what caused the shooting? Is it not we? We'll take a look at all of those and so much more because those are your lawmakers, Lagos. Let's talk. Our representatives at the State House of Assembly have weighed in on the NSAS protests, and some of them are calling for restrictions to social media. That's our only story from now until 4 o'clock. The Assembly had a session a few days ago, and this is how Mudashiru Obasa, the Speaker of the House, started the proceedings at the House. I'll be playing that for you if you are watching us on, what's it called now, on Facebook. You can also see that footage for yourself. If you cannot watch on Facebook, well, here's that sound that I'm talking about.
Before we put the questions, shall we rise and observe 1 minute silence in honor of those patriotic Lagosians who lost their lives and not miscreants that were killed by the police? Mr. Clark, kindly observe 1 minute silence. May their souls rest in perfect peace.
I wonder what you think about the way he qualified that minute's silence. When you give us a call, tell me, all right? It started a couple of days ago when there were reports that Desmond Elliot, the member representing Surulere, was going to support a plan to restrict social media. And Elliot came on Twitter to say it wasn't true. Here's what he said. He said, quote, "This isn't true." But after that, yesterday, the same Desmond Elliot, we saw footage on social media, and this was what he apparently said on the floor of the House.
Mr. Speaker, we need to address certain things. The Nigerian youth, the social media, the social influencers, all of these are making the narrative that we are seeing today, except we are joking with ourselves. Social media, yes, though good, has its negative impact. Let me first thank you for condemning the wanton killings and carnage that happened at Lekki. When I went through the comments, I could not believe it, Mr. Speaker. The curses, the abuses from children. And I ask myself, is this Nigeria? What is going on? Children cursing, people having the effrontery to enter an Oba's palace, hold the staff of office. Culture is gone. Mr. Speaker, in the next 5 years, there will be no Nigeria. if we don't start now. The youth is not only those who do the peaceful protest. Those who have looted, who have destroyed lives, they are youths as well. Mr. Speaker, pregnant women went into malls, picked things and went away. When shall we change this narrative? I put it to all the celebrities out there, all the motivational speakers. This is the only country we have. The wealthy will go. When anything happens, what is our common saying? We die here. Please, celebrities, please, social media influencers, stop the hatred already. You have a means constitutionally to change government. It's called your PDC. Go to the elections. If you are tired, come and enter government. People are dying. The narrative must change. Government, Mr. Speaker, this is my prayer. From the National Assembly, we must decentralize the federal government. Regions must start to operate. It's obvious states are on their own. Regions should start operating. The narrative should start here.
Desmond Elliot speaking on the floor of the House. He represents Surulere. And this video made it to social media after he came on social media to deny that he had called for some sort of regulation or restriction of social media. He came on Twitter to say, it's not true, I did not call for a regulation or restriction of social media. He made that comment 3 days ago. This video surfaced yesterday. Now, when this clip made its way to social media, there was a lot of backlash. A lot of people criticized Elliot. Some people reminded us that Elliot used social media a lot when he was campaigning for office. And he even said that he wouldn't have won without social media. There's footage of him saying he wouldn't have won without social media. Other people were upset because Elliot was talking about insults on social media instead of the dead, peaceful protesters. Now, when all of that backlash, poured out on social media, Desmond Elliot apologized and he tweeted, quote, "I've read your honest feedback and suggestions and I sincerely apologize for addressing the youth as children. I did not mean to be insensitive. It was born out of the magnitude of destruction and looting of businesses that I witnessed when I went on a tour of my constituency. I saw women crying and my constituent members distraught as a result of the damages inflicted on their sources of livelihood. I was moved by this while giving my submission on the floor of the House. I allowed my emotions to get the better of me, and for this I apologize to everyone my earlier statements may have hurt. Please understand that even the best of us make mistakes. This is why, moving forward, I ask that we all try to engage constructively on the issues that affect all of us. I promise to do the same. The pain that I feel for my constituents, the calls for assistance that I continue to get, and the need to mitigate against further destruction and violence will continue to drive my engagements and my work. I thank you all for expressing your views, and in the future, I promise to be more conscious and aware. Together, we will build a better Nigeria." That's what Desmond Elliot had to say after this video came out of what he said on the floor during plenary. But the apologies did not stop there. He went on Arise TV last night to explain himself. Here's what he said on Arise TV. If you're watching us on Facebook, you're also watching what he said.
I appreciate the fact that I was asked to come speak up. Firstly, I would say categorically clear that the social media space really have been a blessing for me as a practitioner and also for the kind of thing I do. Watching it over and over again, I can see why or where people thought it meant regulating the social media space. That was not in any way, categorically in any way what I meant. I never meant, why would I? I mean, when I do things in my constituency, I put it up on the social media space. Why would I ask for that? Besides, freedom of expression is important. It's constitutional. So I could never have called for the social media space to be regulated. No, I watched as people were killed. Let's start from the 20th when it happened. On 20th of October, I was devastated. I stayed all night awake, speaking with Mr. Speaker, and going through our heads. I got to DJ Smith's Switches Instagram Live. I saw it, but I started getting death threats. So I logged out because the threats were about, oh, you had sent army to go and kill us. And I'm like, oh my God, the thing is changing. It's not about that. So when I got to plenary on Monday, it was the whole emotions that went through. And I saw people killing people. I saw people running away with things. I saw people even on that day of the 20th screaming because I hooked up a bit. If we don't control that narrative, we will not have a country. That was what I meant. Firstly, let me make it clear. I am pro-NSAS. I am completely with the youth. Completely, totally with the youth. One of the reasons I decided to come into politics in the first place was because I fought for the fact that this country needed a change. And when the youth woke up, I agreed, I was with them. Now, like I said, because of the situation that's happened, and going that Monday morning and seeing and listening to what was going around, on my way to work, I was saying, okay, I just think maybe we should cut down and re-strategize. Because the truth is, we've done the protest, the youth did the protest, and we had gotten to the point where we needed to now, okay, share the love for the memories of those we've lost during this whole process. I felt we needed to now talk about love.
Okay.
And we needed to now start talking about, you have the right constitutionally, you have the protest. No, I never insinuated that. What I was saying was that I was encouraging, or rather, because I was very emotional, and I was quite upset. You know, I was saying all those who can influence this change, whilst we are doing this, we should also be sending another narrative, which is we can win this by way of our election. We can get a seat at the table. We can now have our budget and they look at how we can influence the youth, because the mobsters didn't understand that it was a peaceful protest. If we now emphasize and put so much on vocational education and put so much in educating them, put so much in understanding who we are as a people, I think it would help. So that was what I meant. You know, that was what I meant, and I totally apologize if it came out the other way, the wrong way. And yes, as a youth, I totally stand for the rights of the youth. I totally stand for what the youth stands for.
Desmond Elliot there on Arise TV yesterday. Desmond Elliot, of course, represents the Surulere constituency in the Lagos State House of Assembly. Now, Desmond Elliot isn't the only assembly member who spoke about the protests, the aftermath of the protests. Mojisola Alli-Macauley talked about the youths as well. And she also talked about what she believes led to the violence. I'll play that for you after we come back from this break. You're listening to Hard Facts on 99.3 Nigeria Info, and our representatives were at the State House of Assembly and a few days ago, and they weighed in on the NSAS protests, and some of them are calling for restrictions to social media. That's our only story today. They had a session 3 days ago, and we've played for you how Mudashiru Obasa started the session. We've played for you what Desmond Elliot said on the floor of the House, which started this entire conversation to begin with. And we've played for you the apology that he rendered on Arise TV yesterday, as well as quoted for you verbatim the apology that he shared on Twitter also yesterday. We'll take a break, we'll come back. I'll play what Alli-Macauley had to say about the NSAS protests. I'm Sandra Ezekwesili. Don't go away.
To your number one station for talk.
99.3 Nigeria Info.
99.3 Nigeria Info. Let's talk.
Mention the first 20 chemical elements accordingly.
Hydrogen, helium, millennium.
See your head. You're wrong. It's not only millium, it's equilibrium.
How come you still remember these things? It's been a while we went to school.
Haven't you been attending daily lessons on Wazobia Max TV?
Daily lessons on Wazobia Max?
Yeah, that's right. Daily lessons showing Monday to Friday, 2 p.m. on Wazobia Max TV, DSTV channel 259, UHF 57 on Wazobia TV, GoTV channel 98, My TV channel 17, Free TV channel 744, and Star Times channel 195. Also on Wazobia FM 95.1 from Mondays to Fridays, 12 noon to 2 p.m. So, what then are you waiting for? Get your children and wards tuned in and give them that edge over their peers. At Wazobia Max Media, inclusive learning is our major concern. 99.3 Nigeria Info.
Your number one station for talk. Let's talk.
This is the Big Three.
The Big Three. On Hard Facts.
On 99.3 Nigeria Info.
I'm Sandra Ezekwesili, Lagos. Let's get right into it. I told you that Mojisola Alli-Macauley talked about the youths. She's the representative for Amoa Dofin 1 at the Lagos State House of Assembly. And here's what she believes led to all of the violence.
Look at the children these days, the youths. I like your submission, Mr. Speaker, that it is not unemployment that should be the bane or the reason why youths will come out and begin to misbehave. There are unemployments in so many countries of the world, even in the United States. I schooled in the UK, and I saw a lot of young people who were not employed, but they didn't become hoodlums. Why can't we look inwards and look for solutions to our problems? Why can't the young people look within themselves, look for their talents? Even if as graduates, what stops you from becoming a designer or a professional tiler or what have you, and make a brand of it? There is no excuse for being a hoodlum. Mr. Speaker, I think it is about time. I mentioned this on the floor of the House. Ab initio, we became members of the Ninth Assembly, that the National Orientation Agency needs to set to work. We need to begin to orientate our young people. They need people who can talk to them from time to time. They are high on drugs all the time, most of them. They go to social media, they do all sorts of things. I'm even scared to give my young children phones because I'm scared I don't know what they would see on the social media. It's that bad. We need to set the National Orientation Agency to work. The Nigerian National Population Commission. We need to have data We need to have statistics of our citizens. We need to know who is what and where. We need to be able to identify our people. And Mr. Speaker, this is my humble submission in conjunction with what Honorable Rotimi Olowo has said, that a committee be set up to look into this carnage. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you.
There you have Mojisola Alli-Macauley representing Amuodo Thing 1, saying that most of the youth are on drugs. She also says unemployment is not an excuse because in other countries, youth are unemployed, but they're not resorting to crime. Now, some people have pointed out that in the UK, which she mentioned, the unemployed receive welfare payments from government. We don't have that here. But I wonder what you think about her assertion that most youths are on drugs. Now, here's what we're going to do. I'll play you what all the lawmakers said, and then you can start calling, and then you can start talking. There's another lawmaker, Ibrahim Layode, and here's what he had to say about the shooting itself at Lekki Tollgate. Now, of course, if you are watching us on Facebook, you are actually watching all of these things live. Here's what he had to say about the shooting at Lekki Tollgate.
People are just mentioning Lekki, they shoot in Lekki. What causes the shooting? Is it not we? On Tuesday morning again, nobody touched you. Nobody even harassed any youth. You went to, I don't know what they call that place, Jeremy Fellow local government, to burn that place. No, to Tuesday morning, no any curfew then. You went to that local government to burn it down. From there, you went to Orile. Look, I saw that one live. I was crying. You decided to beat the police officer to the last, killing him, macheting him. That, they killed that man. Not to. On Tuesday morning. And Yoruba will say, only Lu only video too now. The governor now wake up and said, enough is enough. There should be a curfew on Tuesday afternoon. Then you said you are still in Lekki. Mr. Speaker, we had it clearly in what they are sending all this. You can have lacuna. Maybe you may pull lacuna in that their committee. So search the constitution for them. That is it if the governor can pronounce something in the state and you people decided that you will not go away? Who are we? Are we going to take a law into our hands? Is that day that we want to hand the SARS and make sure they replace another one? Mr. Speaker, let me just leave that one in case for the people that want to work on that. Work, don't say only Lekki. They said they remove camera at the end of the day. But some of them don't know what they are talking. The person that is managing a place, you will not allow you to damage. They don't even know differentiate between the camera and the one that is major capturing you.
Ibrahim Layode, of course, representing Badagry 1. Now, he says in that clip that you just listened to, what caused the shooting? Is it not we? And I wonder if you agree with this rhetorical question. Did we cause the shooting? The lawmaker talks about violence in other places before the governor declared the curfew. But some people have asked whether it is right to shoot at protesters in Lekki, which was peaceful, because of what allegedly happened at Orile. We also heard from Gani Usani. We also heard from Wahab Jimo. And we heard as well from Adewale Temitope. And they all called for regulation and restriction of social media. Here's Gani Usani.
Again, in Saudi Arabia, in Dubai, they no longer allow video calls and video chatting. We can also regulate our social media. We must not allow the social media to plunge us into war. Something must be done urgently to reflect our economy, Mr. in such manner that every household can put food on their tables. Presently, our growth rate is -6, according to the National Bureau of Statistics. Mr. Speaker, yes, we must end SARS, but no killings. We must end SARS, but no looting. We must end SARS, no pillaging. We must end SARS, no raping. With all of this, Mr. Speaker, I want to believe that we shall rise again.
Ganiu Sani represents Koshofe 1 constituency. This is Adewale Temitope.
Over 180 buses were burnt down. Who would suffer it? It is still us. Who did it? We were the ones that did it. Mr. Speaker, they were incited by what they read in the news and on the papers. Mr. Speaker, I also want to stand to also say my prayers that the need for the constitutional review should arise now. We must agitate for it at all costs. Also, the need for state policing should become priority on the lips of every honorable members we have both at the State Assembly and the National Assembly. Also, there is the need for the state government to also empower and strengthen our Lagos State Safety Neighborhood Corps, the LNSC. There is the need for us to strengthen them to also be able to bear arms and protect the citizens of our state. Also, Mr. Speaker, the need to regulate the social media has become more than necessary. Our influencers must be brought to books. Those who have spread the fake news, who has incited in one way or the other, should be. Where did the problems come from? The problems came from the social media, where influencers were comfortable enough to pass news that were fake, and our people went ahead with it and believed it. Mr. Speaker, what we got was beyond what we wanted. And I condemn all attacks, all destructions of public properties, government properties, and private properties. At the end of the day, it is clear what we wanted was beyond what we got. Mr. Speaker, the police has been in existence since the creation of this country. And in Lagos State, we have the Security Trust Fund that has also supported the police itself. We have the RRS, we have the GMT, the Governor's Monitoring Team, we have the Lagos State Task Force, we have the CTU that have operated very well within the ambit of the law and the police sector. The SAS was not created by the state government. We do not have powers over the SAS or the police itself. The governor does not have the powers over the army, neither does the Speaker of the House do it. Mr. Speaker, it is clear our problems come from our Constitution. Until we continue to ask and agitate for a constitutional review, we will not get the way forward in our.
Temitope Adewale represents Ifako Ijayi Constituency 1. We also heard, like I told you earlier on, from Wahab Jimo.
For instance, is being controlled by the government, the central government. Indeed, they have a department for that. I think it's important because the misinformation that got to the people gave birth to this. And unfortunately, the so-called intellectual giants, the way this is being justified, is dangerous for our development. If those who are big and mighty in the country are also justifying whatever is happening with the French Revolution of 1789, that violence has been part of political development. Yes, fine, it happens in France, but we cannot use that to justify what is happening now. So it's important, and it's really, really important for us to look in that direction.
Wahab Jimo also speaking there. He represents Apa Constituency 2. I wonder what you think about all these calls. We've heard from Desmond Elliot. We've heard him walk back from his own very strong words about social media. Do you think that all these other lawmakers should do the same? We also heard from the Speaker of the House of Assembly, Mojisola, and he appeared to speak half of a time. And what he tweeted was that he meant to distribute those palliatives on his birthday. Do you remember that? Well, a lot of people got upset about that. And now the Speaker is commenting on that.
Well, before we move on, let me also add to the issue of palliative, the COVID palliative material, because what has been going on, being circulated on social media, and particularly the one that happened to the majority leader, Honorable Wesobi. It is important to inform our people that what they refer to was just being, distributed last week, if I'm right, and it was to be given now during town hall meeting, which was scheduled for last week, but last Wednesday, but it was postponed because of the crisis, the end-SARS crisis. That was why we postponed. In fact, the IV has been printed where at the point of distributing the IVs when we agreed that we should postpone this program till further notice so that people will not be attacked while we are having something of national interest at hand all over the country. Then we can't come up with an idea that we want to start inviting people to a gathering to discuss our issue in Lagos. So it is important to make it known and clear to everybody that it was not kept for selfish interest. It was to be distributed at the town hall meeting, which we were supposed to hold on last week, Wednesday, and it has been postponed. So I want to say the majority leader did not keep the items for his family or himself, but was mainly meant for distribution during town hall meeting, and it wasn't for his birthday. So it was so he might be, looking forward to celebrate his birthday. So it wasn't for the birthday, but for the town hall meeting, since the people of the constituency will be invited to such gathering. So we just need to correct that so we don't send wrong signal to the public. Thank you. Yeah. Who has the light at the back?
It seems Speaker Obasa is saying, forget what Honorable Agumbiade himself said about the palliatives in his house. Let me tell you why they were really there. What do you think about that? One lawmaker, Setonji David, also spoke on the floor of the House. And he appeared to be saying that there are systemic factors that contributed to the riots that happened during and immediately before the curfew.
We must learn from what has happened. There are challenges in this society. The NSAS started well. Everybody was in their support. The miscreants took over. So what caused those things? There is a challenge or a disconnect between the governed and the government. The level of poverty in this country is beyond understanding. And those are things that have actually made matters worse. There are so many unemployed people. So they just took advantage. I can assure you that a well-employed youth, a gainfully employed youth, it's very rare for them to be involved in those kind of terrible things we saw during this week.
Setonji represents Badagry constituency 2 at the Lagos State House of Assembly. The Speaker of the House appeared to disagree with him a bit, though.
Sorry, Honorable Setonji, we have to be very careful with all these statements. If we are talking about employed youth and unemployed youth and all this, it's like setting, templates for them to justify what has happened. Well, we should be able to identify those who are ready to work from those who are willing. You have to look at all these things. We don't just talk about this. And most times, even everywhere, and this we have been saying all over, that, self-sustainability is main issue now. Because we start talking about everybody looking for job, why we turn out thousands of graduates out annually. So who is going to accommodate them? Self-employment is key. We have to say that. And besides that, even those who are into, what do we call it, the electricians, the tilers, the plumbers, and all these, the carpenters, artisans. So how many of these youths are willing? How many of them are willing to take up this job? It's so bad now that, people have to go to neighboring countries to bring in artisans to, practice this job we're talking about. So we just have to look at it. We don't just address issue holistically without looking deep into it. If not, we'll be creating, room and opportunity for these miscreants to hide under in the name of no job.
Speaker of the House, Mudashiru Obasa speaking there. Lagos, you've heard from your lawmakers. Let's hear from you. 0700-993-993-993. 0700-993-993-993. 993. You can also send your thoughts to me via Facebook. Facebook is Nigeria Info 99.3, where I'm sure a lot of you watched by yourselves the lawmakers speaking in the House. We've got Richard in Ikorodu up first. Hello, Richard. Thanks for calling us.
God bless you, Sandra.
Bless you as well.
All what you have done. We've had it from the beginning and we've had it to the end. I'm also a Lagosian, bred and bred in this country. Born in the 50s. I went to Russia, went to America, scholarship. The speaker started with miscreant when he wanted to say a minute of silence. That is absolutely wrong. Who made them to be miscreant? Who is not miscreant? Who is not gentleman? That's number one. Number two, all that I've spoken so far, Elliot have apologized. All the rest have said nothing which is more appealing. This is a situation this time around that you have to see the bitter truth. The only speaker, Badagry, two, who spoke the right thing, which everybody knows all over the world, that this country is in pain of poverty all over the world. People will go and learn Tyler, whatever, mechanic, all of them graduate, and at the end of the day, the speaker came out to spoke against only the very speaker that spoke the mind of the nation and the world. At this present moment, is sad. And that is the reason why for us to go forward is very rare. A very sensible speaker, a most appealing speaker that spoke last, that could have resulted to having a solution. It was the one the Speaker of the House spoke against. Are you following? Yes. And he went ahead supporting bad day. Where is the majority leader? Why can't the majority leader come out and speak by himself? He's the one speaking for the majority leader. And at the end of the day, was saying bad or nobody. Is he not the one that cheated? And now, the very speaker that spoke the mind of almost 2/3 of the population of this country with their mother and grandmother, came out and saying that she should watch how he spoke. And that is how we shall remain like this for the next 100 years if we don't tell ourselves the bitter truth.
All right, Richard. Thank you so much for calling. I appreciate it. Hello, 99.3. Thanks for calling us.
Okay.
What's your name?
Can I speak?
Yes,
okay,
you're live on air. What's your name?
Okay. My name is Emeka. I'm calling for Jodo.
Emeka, welcome. Go ahead.
Concerning this thing, just like the last week, I want to echo the same thing. That it was Honorable Setonji that spoke the mind of people. It's so painful. In fact, I'm once a one carry member of APC.
Okay.
That's how they recycle themselves, and it's so bad. Look at what happened yesterday. This thing, apart from all honorable that really admitted and asked for forgiveness for what he said earlier. Other ones were just floating around it, and it's so bad. It's so bad. People, in fact, how did that man become a speaker for crying out loud? He's so incoherent, and I don't know. It's so painful. May God help Nigeria. May God help Lagos State as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Emeka, for calling. We appreciate it. We've got more calls. I'm going to come to social media as well. I'll take your thoughts from Facebook and Twitter and WhatsApp. Olumuyiwa, how are you?
Sandra, good afternoon, good evening.
Good afternoon.
It's good to hear your voice.
It's good to hear your voice as well.
I am down.
Why are you down?
Miscreant. We that we kill inside the sun and food for these people. So we are no longer ordinary Nigeria or poor Nigeria anymore, but miscreants. And now, one of the speakers said poverty is not the problem. I lost word though. In the 80s, Oregon name was Oregon Industrial Estate. Today, it's a church estate. And the last speaker from Badagry tried to talk about even employment, and the speaker shut him down. It is not unemployment that we make in Kiniko. All this thing is paining me because election is not in next 3 months or 4 months. It's paining me because we Nigeria, we can easily forget And by 2023, it is APC, oh, APC, APC, no, na there go, Duamo.
Olumuyiwa, thank you for calling me. We've got Chukudi in Ketu Ikosi who says, how do we campaign for you if you regulate social media? Since the lockdown ended, you were waiting to distribute the palliatives during town hall meeting. Obasasa, you can tell that to the Marines. These guys are just protecting their interests. Now you can distinguish between miscreants and protesters. Why didn't you do so before shooting at Lekki? We've got somebody who says the Honorable from Badagry 2 spoke exactly what is happening, and the Speaker is still criticizing him. What a country. Good afternoon, Sandra. My name is Audu. We've got somebody who says, Sandra, what else do you expect from the guys at the Assembly? They dare not speak anything that will make the main lecturer angry. I wonder what you mean by that. Daniel in Ifakoi Jaye is calling. Daniel, how do you feel about what your own representative had to say?
Yes, it's all laughable. Very, very laughable. Because somebody asked, how does Mr. Obasa become a speaker? I've been asking such questions for long. But that it's all right. It's there. But what I just want to plead is that our people should try and be more politically conscious. We should not allow these people to be selected, and at the end of the day, they brandish themselves as being elected member of the House of Representatives or elected member. So it's quite unfortunate if somebody is identifying the problem and somebody is saying, no, it is not poverty, it is not lack of job. And he said, okay, everybody should become an artisan. So if you all become artisans, who is going to build? Who is going to call us to render our service as artisans? If all are carpenters, stylers, who are we going to render our service to? It's quite unfortunate. And you want people to be self-dependent. You want them to be independent. What have you done? What have you done? They only echo ease of doing business. Where's the ease of doing business?
Thank you, Daniel, for calling me. We've got a comment that says, you want all of us to become artisans, and yet the artisans you have tasked them to death. Damilola is in Ogba. Hello, Damilola. Thanks for calling.
Yeah, good afternoon, Sandra.
Good afternoon. Welcome. Go ahead.
Yes, to be honest with you, I actually don't know how to put this, but listening to what everything those speakers said, and we are talking about clamping down on inciting statements, I would say, to me, everything they've said is being inciting.
Okay.
Because how would you say youth that has gone to school, that have spent over 10, 15 years in school, to go do artisan's jobs, to go do tilers, to go do, can their children go do this? This is really a big problem for us in this country. And if our lawmakers can be thinking like this, how do you expect others to think? I think we actually need a serious change in this country. And I think we need to start doing that right now. Right now. Thank you.
Thank you, Damilola, for calling. Buki is in Isolo. Hello, Buki.
Hello, Sandra.
How are you? Thanks for calling.
Thank you. I got to you today.
Yeah.
I'm so happy.
Welcome.
I just want to say the attitude of some of our lawmakers to what is happening looks more to be desired. You are talking of people going into artisanship.
Can you turn your radio off for me? Can you turn your radio off for me? Thank you.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Is it okay now?
Yes, better. Go ahead.
Yeah. Then the lady who says she's called abroad, there are so many unemployment, there's employment abroad too. But you don't see miscreants on the road because the government is doing something for the young ones.
Right.
By the age of 18, when they leave school, even without university degree or anything,
right,
they don't go on the street. They don't go picking. What is our government? These people are not addressing the issues here because of the fast salaries. They are not talking about all those. In their respective homes, families? Do they have people who are employed? What are they doing to them? In what ways are they helping them? You can't just label everybody a miscreant because they don't have job. What is the government doing? There is social security abroad. That lady was saying the only person who spoke was the one from Badagry, and it was shut down. That is unfair. As the leader of that house, Obasa should, I think he should know what is happening with him. The level of corruption at that level, it has blinded all their eyes. They are not seeing what is happening to the common people. The same thing at the national level. They are talking of solutions. They are not talking about their fat salaries, which is putting holes in the national pocket. They are not looking inwards. Thank you very much, Andrew.
Thank you so much. You too, Buki. Thanks for calling on the show. Anthony, hello. Thanks for calling.
Good afternoon, Sandra.
Good afternoon, Anthony.
Please, this has shown that our lawmakers are totally disconnected from the people they are claiming to be representing. In the first place, what bring about all this miscreant that they are talking about? We have tout all over almost all bus stops of Lagos. These that are serving as a National Union of Road Transport Workers. The state encourage such. People that are supposed to be working, these people that are extorting money from the people, the government has been looking away, and our society is being filtered all over with miscreant touts which the state government enables. And these are the set of people that they use as political soldiers. During the last NSAS strike that they are talking about, these sets of people, what is their contribution towards this looting all over? These are the people that man several, and these are the people that have that even participated in the destruction of these police stations and government agencies they are talking about. How can our lawmakers be telling us that it is not poverty that is responsible for this? While we have so many parents that cannot even cater for their children, and these children, what do they expect them to be in the society? Children that cannot go to school, someone that is earning 30,000 cannot be able to feed his family. How will he send his?
Oh, unfortunately, Anthony's airtime ran out. But sorry, but I think you made your point. We've got Sylvanus Adet who says, how many people has the speaker empowered in his constituency? I stay in Agege for the past 15 years without anything put in place for the youth. We've got Alfred DBA who says, thank you, Honorable Setonji. Let the speaker and others disagree with you. You'll be vindicated if they fail to address these issues as quickly as possible. Balogun Samson Balosam on Facebook says, Sandra, we children. Desmond Elliot called us children. If he's done well in his constituency, he will have come out to prevent people doing the attack. We've got a comment from Steve in Ijaniki who says, we can forgive Desmond Elliot because he has acted so many movies. Maybe he thought it was another script that he was given to act on the floor of the House of Assembly. But earlier, he differentiated between acting and lawmaking. The earlier he differentiates between acting and lawmaking, the better. We've got Sandra, Ghani's concern about the slow growth, which he mentioned, can be boosted by slashing the humongous salaries and allowances which he and all the other lawmakers are earning. The National Orientation Agency should start its work on the Lagos State House member on what good governance is about. The simple fact is that politicians were elected by the people, so they cannot force their own will on the people. The people in Saudi Arabia and its likes are not comfortable with their regulation of social media in their country. Here in Nigeria, the people say no to that. I've got nothing to say about the Lagos Speaker of the House because he should step down from that seat if that is his response to the truth, which a member of the House told him. Dozie said that. Dozie, thank you so much for sharing your message with us. Datmo from Shomolu says, Sandra, I am sad. Hearing all these videos you just played just made me sad. Okay. Well, Lagos, you've heard from your lawmakers, and now they've heard from you. And it's my cue to go home. I'll be leaving you in the hands of Agogo Obo and Rotimi Sankori, who will bring you Public Square. And when they're done, they'll hand you over to Ifeanyi and Sam for music and moments. In the meantime, talk to me online. Why don't you? Sandra Ezekwesili on Facebook, Ezekwesili on Twitter and on Instagram. And if you want to listen to today's episode again, go and search for our podcast on any of your streaming services. If it's Google, Apple Podcasts, whichever one you like, search for it. Listen again to today's episode of Hard Facts. Also listen to previous episodes of Hard Facts. And until I come back on Monday, try and stay alive. Try and stay safe.
You don't have to leave home without us again. Listen on the air and online. Just search Nigeria Info FM on the Apple app or Google Play Store and never miss a thing. Your number one station for talk. 99.3 Nigeria Info. Let's talk.